they'll be participating in the undergraduate colleges. And that one activity is the first-year reading program, and that all students, regardless of undergraduate college, will receive the book that they received their first ed classes. And I say that we have a first-year reading program so that students get to practice the kind of skills that will be required for them in higher education, students do. And so probably in their high school career, someone handed them something and told them to read it and understand it. And their job was to prove that they understood it. And they were supposed to report back in some test or essay that says, yes, I understood this thing you told me to read. Now on this campus, they will also be handed things to read in all their classes and asked to learn them and understand them, but we're asking for a slightly different skill. We're asking for students to form their own opinion about it. Yes, understand it, but form your own opinion. Question the material. Form an argument about it. Express your opinion. Talk to your colleagues about an academic matter. And these are the kind of things that they'll need to practice now, because they'll use it in every class, whether it's a science class or a humanities class or social sciences. And so that's what students know about the book. And they know maybe 2 sentences about what this book is about. So they're going in cold. They're going to walk into your class, they're going to receive it. And so Catherine has arranged for a panel today of folks that can help you understand the contents of the book better and maybe how you can discuss it with your students. So I'd like to introduce you to Catherine Kaiser first, who will talk more about this.
Thanks, Dean. So I'm Catherine Kaiser. I'm an advisor at the College of Leadership and Service, and I'm here in my very official capacity as a subcommittee member of the education subcommittee of the Commons Day Committee. It's anyway very confusing. But anyway, here I am. And last year we had Juno Diaz. Our topic, our book was The Brief Wonders Life of Oscar Wilde, and we did a panel, a faculty panel on that, and the questions that the instructors asked at that panel and the panel itself was so neat and so wonderful. We thought, well, we should have that before we start talking about the book in our classes. So this year's book is Here's What We'll Say, Growing Up and Coming Out of the U.S. Air Force by Rankin Langpool. And I'm going to begin with a short clip of Langpool addressing the Human Rights Campaign in 2006. He got a Visibility Award from them, and he's talking about his book. So here is the book.
Berman, Mike Berman, one of so many straight people that stands with us to align the forces of gays and straights to gain our rights. So, while many of us are being, this is why I'm here, I'm going to tell you why I'm here. While many of us are so disgusted with the war that's actually going on right now, and we just want to shut our TVs off and forget about what our administration is doing overseas, what we need to do is actually remember some other things, like what's actually happening with our LGBT service members who are serving overseas in Iraq, other countries, and in this country. Yeah, the U.S. military is practicing one of the last legal human rights abuses left in this country today. Yeah. The armed forces in the United States still has a ban on homosexuals in the military. And many people forgot that we have the ban because someone brought up a phrase called "don't ask, don't tell." Don't ask, don't tell did nothing. It did not lift any kind of a ban. It did not change the way people were being treated in the military, and I have first-hand knowledge of this. I've just spent under 3 years writing my book, which is now finally published this week, called Here's What We'll Say, Growing Up, Coming Out in the U.S. Air Force. I chronicle the secret society of gay cadets that I formed at the Academy to get by and not be persecuted or thrown in jail for being gay. There were about 50 of us, and we would meet in secret. The book also chronicles all of the lies that I had to tell to make it through the U.S. Air Force Academy as a gay cadet. My number one goal in life right now is to end the ban, the abuse, and the expulsion of our LGBT U.S. service members from our nation's military.
And the clip was on from there, and I'll post it online so you can see it. I'll post a link to it. And so each year, the undergraduate college selects this book to have freshmen discuss, and little did we know when it was selected this would be so timely. In December of last year, Obama repealed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, but the repeal was not enacted until the military had properly trained its members. The law is still sort 22nd, right, not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, the repeal was certified by all the joint chiefs and the president, and that's on September 20th. Right, that's only a few weeks into school. Don't ask until it will be officially repealed. And even then, there's still issues to be worked out. Transgender service people are not included in this law. Spouses of gay and lesbian military members will not be given equal benefits because of the Difference in Marriage Act. And it bars the federal government from recognizing same-sex unions created in states like New York that allow them. So we're tackling this issue of gays and lesbians in the military at a really historic moment for Asia itself. So here to talk about this with me is, well, to start to my right, Chris Tanaka, Special Projects Coordinator for the Center for Prevention and Outreach, and Director of the Safety Training Program. We'll call you Coordinator. And then we have the Hammond, Director of the Writing Program. We have Ray Calvin, Professor of Women and Gender Studies, and Allegra B. Laurentis, Associate Professor of Philosophy and Faculty Director for the College of Global Studies. So we'll start out with a few statements from the panelists, and we'll chat a bit about the book, come up with some strategies for how to best integrate the book in a 101 class, and then answer some questions from you, the audience. All right, so let's see. Start with Chris.
So I didn't really prepare too much to say in the beginning because I thought it'd be a better use of your time to get what you want out of it. I think overall the book is it's a good example of one person's story, and I think that's something that we need to keep in mind that it's one person's story, and as you know, anybody's story is cannot be generalized to everybody, but it gives us a few really good examples of leadership and support systems that are really important for our students here on campus. And I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Stand up because I can't see you before you can't see me. I've been on the committee to help choose this book, or choose the book that we use each year, and I think it's one of the hardest things that we do here, because it's hard to find a book that you think will have all the qualities that will interest all the students. However, I'd say that the committee has done a great job over the last 10 years finding books that are of interest, and I think we've done it together. One of the things that we try to find when we choose a book is a book that has a lot of incidents in it that are connected to our students' experiences, and I think this one will be true too. I keep forgetting his name, Manku, describes what it's like to be 5-year-old and your parents getting divorced. He describes bullying in middle school and in high school, and going through puberty in middle school and high school, and just a lot of experiences that are not universal, again, as Chris said, but they're one person's experience, and then everybody else can compare their experience to that other person's experience. What I'd like to, as director of the writing program, do for you in my 2 minutes is suggest a good way to teach any kind of book. And that is, you want the students to get as involved as possible. So you don't want to go in there with an agenda as to what you want them to be getting out of the book. At least I don't think so. And the way that I try to do this is generally by making a list of issues that are raised for me as I read the book. So just a few of them, for example, that came to mind. One is how somebody who's writing a memoir chooses what to include and what not to include. Bullying, certainly. Conventions and how they affect the way we behave. Living a double life. Confidentiality. Nature versus nurture on the issue of sexual orientation. Roles of gangs in young people's lives. Differences between one country and another and what the norms for behavior are, or even the norms of rebellion are. The country's ideology or an institution's ideology versus the facts, and how those conflict in many cases. And I think actually that being gay is one of the ways in which that conflicts the most, and so it illustrates particularly well the issue that people will refuse to see the evidence in front of them because they've been trained to see in terms of some general principle. And many, for example, gay people think that they are straight or think that they want to be straight for a long time before they come to some kind of acceptance. I think that's because of this notion that the society gives you a frame of reference that doesn't fit the facts, but you don't let the facts speak for themselves because the frame of reference is too strong. Anyway, if you choose a whole set of issues like that, and any set that occurs to you as you read the book, and you throw a couple of them on the table and let the students come up with individual examples, then the discussion will take an organic form, and that you still guide the discussion, obviously, and you guide it partly by the general principles that you choose to have them think about. But they won't feel like they're being dominated by you, and they'll get the most out of it.
As I was reading this, I was talking to a friend about it, and she said, well, what's this book really about? And I thought about it, and it's obviously a chronicle of his life until the time he graduated from the academy. But the things that he seemed to be most interested in is attack may be too strong a word, but he's very, very critical of a particular form of Christianity and its ties to the military, in ways in which it's connected to the way in which the military operates. Now, having said that, I mean, he sees himself as a Christian. He's not rejecting Christianity, but he sees a particular kind of narrow form of Christianity. He really does go after time and time again. I think it's probably be something students want to talk about. And he also talks a lot about Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and as we heard from Catherine earlier, some of those points are easily resolved, but many of the issues will linger for them. And so I think he really, at the end, wants his readers to get those two things out of him telling his tale. And I think, as Jean said, it does raise along the way a lot of questions. One of the things that I was thinking about is the ways in which he often leaves assumptions unquestioned. Right? I mean, he's very explicit about when he thinks about Christianity and the role of the military, right? But he doesn't always question things like why he's going to be in the military. And he kind of says, well, it's because of grandma. But doesn't really think about the military's role. It's like, doesn't spend a lot of time thinking about it. So maybe, you would ask him to think about it. There are a couple of moments early when he's often faced with the question, am I gay, am I not gay, am I attracted to boys or girls or men or women? And he gets accused at one point of something. He says, well, I never would have dated her. She's too ugly. Right? And he never stops to think, well, where does that idea come from? That this woman is too ugly. It's an assumption in which he's operating about personal appearance, about attraction, about all these things. Never questions why he would have that. And he's asking us all to think about our assumptions about homosexuality and the ability of gay and lesbian individuals to serve in them. He wants us to think about our assumptions about that point, but some of his just go unquestioned. So I think it might be useful to sort of look for those moments when he doesn't. And we're trying to get our students to develop these kinds of critical skills, not only learn what it says, but learn what it doesn't say. And I think finding those assumptions is often a useful way to do it.
I couldn't say it better, so I'm going to keep this short. My first reaction when I finished the last page of this book was, this is a bad book written for a very good cause. And then I thought of you, and I thought, wow, am I glad I don't have to teach this book. Well, that's, of course this is just my opinion. It is obvious from other people's comments that there are more modern opinions than mine about this book. But you have to understand that I, for example, I make living wages, so to speak, by offering to our students a kind